Well, I was in second grade at the time, and everything was pretty normal. We had gone into school just fine, everything. We had sat down in the classroom, we were in our circle for morning meeting, and that's when everything started. Like, that's when the bullets started.
And I remember being grateful that I was farther away from the door because I thought that the kid that was closest to the wall was going to get shot first.
But, you know, we all just kind of were just in shock, in this state of shock. So many people were handling it different ways. Some people were turning to humor. Some people were just sobbing.
We never really assumed that this was gunshots because we didn't have exposure to that. But I remember looking at my teacher's face and how just terrified she was and how, you know, sternly she told us to go sit by the cubbies.
And even like when the police came to get us, they knocked on the door first and said like, "This is the police, like open the door." And we all screamed no, like we didn't want to let him in. We didn't know if it was like the bad guy pretending to be the police. We just didn't want to take that chance. And so like every single kid in my class screamed no. And it was so heartbreaking to hear like a bunch of little kids screaming no. But thank God we opened the door and it was actually the police.
I remember feeling so guilty, and I think that's a big part of when you come out of a tragedy where people have unfortunately passed away, is that, you know, you live with survivor's guilt and wondering how, you know, you made it out and they didn't.
Living with that survivor's guilt is just so hard, and even now, times where like my depression will get really bad and like I'm having these like episodes and moments and it's like what if this was wasted on me? Like, why did they not get to live and I got to live and now I'm wasting it because I'm going through like these horrible things and I'm dealing with this, and it's like I don't even like want to be here sometimes, and it's like I'm wasting that because they could have had this amazing life and they could have not taken this for granted and just survived to do so many better things than I'm doing. And it's like I feel like it's not fair.
When I think about Sandy Hook, immediately I think of that day, but you know, I don't want to think of that day. I want to think of my childhood and the 4 years I spent with these amazing educators and building connections and, you know, like building myself.
It's been 9 years since Sandy Hook. We had 9 years for this to not happen again, and yet it did. And now these kids are gonna have to go through the same exact thing. And that's just like heartbreaking.
And things like that, and the principal, Dawn, was really involved. I just think that it's so important for these school districts, after stuff like this happens at a school, they need to make sure that they are doing everything they possibly can, you know, taking any donations they get and putting it toward making sure that students have mental health support. that kind of thing.
How many of those did you keep?
The biggest piece of advice I can say is find comfort in your loved ones, especially classmates, because they have that shared trauma. Don't bottle things up. Talk to your family, your friends, because it's so important to talk this stuff through and know that their feelings are validated.
Is like to not feel shame about where you are in your healing process. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't feel invalid because someone may have it worse. I think that just not feeling ashamed, not feeling like what you went through wasn't valid, that's a huge part of coming to terms with what happened. And, just be kind to yourself.
Thank you.